Hey guys, Ponce here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Vegito, one of the two new DLC characters released for Dragon Ball FighterZ in the last few days. So today we're going to be going into a slightly more in-depth discussion, unlike the previous video, which is a bit more kind of a basic, these are the combos sorts of things. So yeah, we're going to talk about what's good on the character, what's bad on the character, and it's kind of a mixed bag, not necessarily in that order. Now, keep in mind this is still very new, or rather this character is very new, so this is not supposed to be an exhaustive list of everything he's good at and everything he's bad at. And some things may change over time, you know, as people discover more tech and how to, you know, synergy works and all that. This is subject to change. I feel a lot of the base points are going to stick fairly well, but instances where I feel like, well, maybe this might change in the future sort of thing, I will be talking about that. But anyway, first off, let's talk about what he's actually good at. So what's immediately apparent, and I don't think this is going to change at all, is that he's extremely good at spatial control on the screen, or what people like to call carry, I suppose. I don't know if there's anyone better than him on the roster. I feel like there isn't, but certainly of the characters that I play, I can't think of a character who just kind of like puts you on the screen wherever he wants to better than Vegito. Like if he wants you somewhere on the screen, he can basically put you there. Let me show you an extreme example of that. So if you want, let's say I want the enemy on the opposite side of the screen, so on the opposite corner. So if I want Vegeta right now on the opposite side of the screen, like I'm not going to be able to take him to the opposite corner, but let me show you an extreme example of just how far you can carry a person if you really want to. So yeah, like that actually almost put him in the corner. Like he granted he kind of like jumped back after he got up, but that just shows you how far you can actually throw a person. Now the closer you are to said corner that you want to put them in, the longer that sliding knockdown thing they get thrown into lasts. So yeah, the better it is, the closer they are to the corner, because you get more setup time and all that. But incidentally, if you're wondering how I did that, it's vanish into 214M. And then you get this big long sliding throw thing. So let me show you what happens when you do that already from the corner. So just, you know, you get to see how long they're sliding and you get kind of set up. So you go like, oops. So you're already on top of them, they're sitting there, and you can kind of do, you know, whatever when they get up sort of thing. But yeah, basically you can put them in the corner from wherever. Now this can be either done through just this throwing means, and of course you don't have to use vanish. Like if you already, you know, you're near a corner, you can just do, for example, I don't know, let's do a super simple version like, oops, that's so easy, I screwed it up. So, you know, that's the non-vanish version. I just, you know, kind of knead them up and throw them backwards. Or alternatively, I showed this off in that previous video, so, you know, I'm not gonna, well, let's just do it again. And that combo will chain on instantly. I'm not gonna do it, but, yeah, just through regular carry on the ground, you can kick them into the corner from the midpoint of the screen. So, yeah, there you have it. Spatial control / carry. Next, he's got pretty decent damage. This was shown up, I think, fairly decent in the previous video, so I don't want to go into it too much. But there is one point I did want to make that I didn't make in the previous video. So, yeah, just in general, he has fairly decent damage. It's not the highest in the game, at least so far, but it's definitely up there. Like, it's quite good and efficient. So, I don't know, we'll just show off one corner combo again. It's going to start with a 5M, which is not, you know, you're not going to get that all the time, but just for the sake of showing damage, it's like... Oops. Oh, actually, it's good I messed that up, because I forgot to talk about something before I do it. So this part here, where I go like that, make sure, and I didn't mention this in the previous video, make sure you put in a brief pause right before you do the 5S. Because if you don't, then this is what's going to happen. Like your character just goes sailing under. So you got to go bop, bop, pause, and then hit that. And then I just threw him back into the corner and wanted to finish the sword. Obviously, that's not the only way to do that, but I just wanted to show it off doing it that way. Okay, so next, this is kind of a common knowledge about him. It was like the gimmick that people knew going into before the character was even released. But his old reverse combo or reverse beat combo system, where he can chain back and forth. Well, not back and forth, but he can chain from mediums to lights. I feel like that doesn't exactly describe what he does the best. The way I like to talk about it is that basically the chain move, or the key to the whole thing, is his down, or 2S, or not 2S, 2L. So his down light, that thing right there. Basically what that move is, it kind of like shares properties between a light and a medium. So long as you haven't used this, you can go backwards from mediums into lights. And then consequently, since you're already going lights, you can go back into mediums if you so desire. So this allows for some... Well, actually, before we talk about that, also, incidentally, in terms of the 2S, or 2L, I keep calling it 2S, the 2L, it actually has really good scaling as far as I can tell. Like, it's like, that's what I mean, it's like a pseudo-medium, because it seems to have medium scaling if you actually start with it. Now, granted, it's pretty slow of a move, so, landing it is almost like kind of landing a raw medium sort of thing. So I'm not saying it's the best thing to do in the world, but if you did start with a medium, you do stuff like this. So notice, like, I didn't even end with the super there, but it has like medium light scaling. You can get quite high damage on it if you kind of keep going with that sort of stuff. Just a bit of an aside. But anyway, yeah, because of this, it's sort of like your mix and match combo system. You can do different things unlike a lot of other characters. So let's say if we start with lights, I can do a combo like this. Okay, let's go. Or I could, if I start with lights, I could also do something like this. So notice, like, the placement of the mediums is different. So when he's going high and when he's going low gets switched up. So A, it's confusing. It can be confusing to the enemy. And B, depending on, like, it kind of feeds into that whole thing with this character where he's got that mix and match combo system. So how you want to end the combo, depending on where the enemy is on the screen, can get changed because of, his whole spatial control thing. So let's say, I want to end the combo in, again, it just sort of feeds into that whole theme of, do I want to end with kicks into the air level one to knock him straight down into this corner? Or do I want to vanish, or do a vanish ending into, throwing him into the corner? Like, again, it's it's very interesting. Like, what he does is very context-based. Now, this kind of leads in perfectly to the whole mixed bag thing, stuff he's good at but not good at. This also does mean, and it's not strictly a terrible thing, but it can also mean the character is quite confusing if you don't have a lot of experience with him, because, you're kind of overwhelmed with very, very similar choices, and then you just sort of flub combos and drop things and don't end up doing anything, because you're like, oh crap, no, I was supposed to do this instead of that, and then I just end up doing nothing, sort of thing. I'm still having problems with that. I'm getting used to that over time. But anyway, aside from that, actual mixed bags, he, at least so far, now this is one of those things that may change over time, but my perception of him currently is that he's quite of a selfish character. And what I mean by that is that he seems to be able to do stuff on his own, like, very well, like most things. So he doesn't, require tons of assists or, other characters to do things for him. But at the same time, he doesn't seem to particularly work really well with other characters. Now, again, this might be a function of the sorts of characters I play. Maybe he's got better synergy with other characters. But that's the impression I'm getting. Now, if that's an intentional design decision, I kind of like that. Because at least according to what I remember from the lore, back when I used to watch Dragon Ball Z, a trillion years ago, like, he kind of was sort of a selfish, sort of cocky character. So if they actually made that, work that into his gameplay, that's kind of neat. But anyway, this sort of feeds into the point where his assist is so-so. It's not the worst in the world. I mean, I've seen a lot of things online, people talking about, oh my god, this character's worthless because his assist is terrible, blah, blah, blah. That's typical online, hyperbole. You don't need to listen to that. But it is, there is a point in the sense that it's not the greatest. It's, it's this thing right here. And if we do it from assist, I'll show you. He just goes like, yeah. It covers the screen decently, but it's not exactly the best for extending combos. You can do it, but it's awkward. It doesn't seem to be particularly designed for that. And at the same time, it doesn't, it's basically you know, it's not as useful as, for example, Vegeta's assist in any capacity whatsoever. And it doesn't really have the usefulness of a beam type ability either, which just kind of like, you know, cracks people open really well and, you know, stun locks them up and all that sort of thing. Now again, it's sort of natural that at least I certainly haven't seemed to have been able to figure out how to get him to work really well with other people. And again, possibly a function of the teams I use. But you know, at the same time, I don't think people have had the, you know, ample opportunity to figure this stuff out. So going forward, someone might figure out some really crazy synergy or really weird ways to use them, or really novel ways to extend his combos with certain, you know, assists and stuff like that. So we'll see where that goes. But at a baseline, he just, in my impression, he doesn't work great with other people. So as it stands, I feel like that makes him, at least in my opinion, a decent anchor pick. Like if you just want him to like hold the line as your last character sort of thing, or maybe even a point character if you want to like pair him with 2 assists that like crack people open really well, like beams or, you know, stuff like that, which is going to lead into some of my bad points of the character. And you know, they're not crippling. I don't feel like they make him unusable. But at least so far, I feel like he doesn't have the best neutral in the game. Like, it's not terrible, but it's not great. Like, the options to crack people open, which, you know, I was just talking about pairing him with 2 people who would assist to crack people open, is that he's not the greatest at it. Like, I mean, he's got an okay slide coming in like that. It's a bit risky to do. Even his standing M, 5M, like, it's got... Oh, I'm still going to miss there. But, like, I think the range is like this. You can kind of land it from there. The jabs are kind of awkward to land because it does this thing. I don't think it's as bad as people think. Like, it's just something different to throw people off, I find. The range is actually deceptive on this. Like, I've certainly caught people off guard, and other people playing Vegito, I've been caught off guard by it. Like, the kicks just kind of extend out in front of him quite a bit. So he's got decent range on that, making him a, you know, at least I feel like a fairly decent mid-range character, which maybe I should have talked about in the good. He's a good mid-range character. But anyway, back to the bad points. Like, you can, I guess, do this from relatively far away. He also has this as kind of a mid-range option. So you land like that into, you know, if you do it right, it's that into kicks. Or, you know, like the thing everyone has, IAD into whatever. But, I don't know, it just feels like other people do it better. At least, you know, by, you know, my experience. Alright, so another kind of so-so point. His knockdown options are contextually good and bad. Like, basically, you need... Really, yeah, it's the whole sliding knockdown thing. So you can do it, you know, like this, as I was saying. Or, well, not like that, but you know the whole thing I was doing earlier? I can do it. What am I trying to do? I'm like mixing up 2 things. Oh yeah, no. The whole sliding into the knockdown, or the sliding knockdown throw into the corner thing, that's really good, but it does require meter. Now you can do the version without the meter, but again, it sort of requires the corner thing. If they're not in the corner, the person just kind of goes sliding way off, and the sliding knockdown is largely wasted. So again, he's got good knockdown options and bad knockdown options depending on what's going on at any given time. So that was, maybe I should have included that in the mixed bag, but I suppose it is worth noting that it is somewhat limited unless you set up the right situation for a knockdown. And obviously level 3 is going to knock down if you do it on the ground. Probably should point out, so let's just do this. So that's obviously a hard knockdown on the ground, but if you do the air version, you know, it's just like Vegito's thing. Vegito's Final Flash. If you do the level 3 beam in the air, that's not a hard knockdown. They can just tech out of it. So just thought I'd mention that. Okay, so the final kind of not so good point is his range options are fairly limited. Realistically, all he has is this. This is more of a, so his, what is that? That's 6S. That's really more of a, like a mid-range tool. I wouldn't consider this, like, you can kind of clip the person with the absolute edge from about here, but yeah, it's kind of, you know, granted you can improve this with the whole tiger knee method I was talking about the previous video, where you go like and do it twice. So what that is, again, I explained it previously, but you're doing an over motion. Can I show that off on the monitor? The webcam? Let me check. So I know I can show it on the thing, but basically what you're doing is you're going like this, like that, and then you're overextending up to diagonal, or diagonal up, and then you do it really fast, and then you press the key blast button, and then you hold it. So what it's doing is it's making your character jump and then buffering the fireball, and then he's throwing the fireball after the jump happens, and then you can just do a second one afterwards. So again, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it, you know, at least provides a second fireball option, sort of thing. So yeah, that's probably his most glaring shortcoming, but it's not the end of the world. Like, ranged attacks are not the most important in this game. It's not so much a zoning game. It's a lot of rush down and being super aggro, in my opinion. So anyway, those are my opinions on the character, what I think he's good at, what I think he's sort of medium at, what I think he's sort of not the greatest at. This is all, again, subject to change as people discover new tech and new ways to use this character with other characters, blah, blah, blah. But that's what I got for the first few days. And I imagine a lot of this is going to hold at least relatively true, at least sort of like the core points. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you found this useful. I'll see you guys around. Have fun with Dragon Ball FighterZ. Bye.